Do you think that Jimi Hendrix gets the respect that he deserves in the black community?
I don't think anybody gets the respect that they deserve in the black community, because respect is nothing that the powers that be want for the black community. Jimi Hendrix was who he was. As I always say, he was an angelic being. Angels get no respect because angels are too powerful. And for one to see that they can be a living angel, they can be powerful, they can be great on the level of Hendrix, which is what he was put there for us to see his magnificence, his aura, his power. No one wanted to focus, the powers didn't want us to focus in on that. They wanted us to focus in on whatever ineptness that they would project, like him being wild, him being this, or him being too this, or, not funky enough. Man, this man was the funkiest, the most in-tuned vessel that was sent to us to look at, to examine, to emulate, to study, to magnify. We're not programmed to take our examples, as Hendrix was an example, and to glorify. We're not supposed to have the ability to glorify ours. We are trained to denigrate, to bring down, to cast down, or not to see. And they were successful in the black community in doing that. They had a program that they were sending out to the black community, and Hendrix did not fit that because he was too, what we would call, magnificent. He was a magnificent image. He was a colorful image. He was sent there to bring color into us. We were supposed to see things in black and white. And many people the color was too, like back in the day, they used to call it Technicolor. And he was too Technicolor. He was too colorful. He was too flamboyant. He was too magnificent. And these are attributes that we were not supposed to implant in ourselves. So he was turned away from our eyes.
Now, one of the many deep things that you said to me, you said a lot of those deep things, but one thing that always sticks out to me is when you said that Jimi Hendrix's music, it wasn't, the powers that be, so to speak, did not want his music on black radio. And you remember the reason that you gave? I thought that was like one of the more deeper reasons that caused me to think about that, and in terms of what we hear today on black radio. Mm-hmm. And it came full circle for me. So do you have any?
Do I recall? Maybe you can bring, because I see so many things. Do you recall?
In your words, in your own words, why do you feel that Jimi Hendrix's music was not played on black radio widespread? I mean, we know
because the program at the time, as it still is, was love to a point where, everything, anytime you speak of love, they have a particular image, and ultimately, even today, you see that it was to degrade the principles of love and to make people see love from one perspective. Jimi showed the various shades of love. You understand? Not always the sexual concept of love. And the sexual concept of love, when it's projected the way they were doing it back in the 50s was only sex in a degrading way, not as a sacrament, not as something holy, not as something profound that allows one to use so that they can become immortal. You understand? Theirs was to take a blessed sacrament, the blessed sacrament of sex, and to defile that blessed sacrament. Hendrix had ability to see sex in color. You know, the higher virtues of sex, the highest virtues of love, the higher virtues of respect, and he also had the ability, for one, if they were looking close enough, to see sex as a sacred thing, not necessarily something that you just go ahead and abuse, but use on the higher level.
So when you talk about yourself and your brother, and you talked about the first time that you heard Jimi Hendrix's music, and it was like David and Saul
and David
soothed the beast, so to speak.
Yeah, because we were the beast. We were the beast. Fortunately, even though our divine spirit was dormant, he had the ability to shake up that divinity that was even in us to keep us from being beastly. You understand? Because we might have even projected the beast on him, but he was in tune, and that's not a pun on words. He was in tune enough to be able to recognize the beast in us and to soothe it, you know, and make us reflect in a more deeper way of who we were and what music meant to us. And he did a good job, because from that point on, we had a better understanding of who we were dealing with. And we weren't dealing with just a regular man. We were dealing with an angelic being, a powerful person.
So you think that what Jimi Hendrix did for you and your brother, if it was allowed to be on radio, black mass media in a wide form, could this have been something that could have been transformative for black people everywhere if this was allowed to flourish, or would that not? Well,
when we say the black people everywhere, you know, that's pretty. Why? Because you know, we could say, you know, yeah, black people is one thing, and angelic people is another. You know, not all is all. I remember somebody saying to us, all yams are sweet potatoes, but all sweet potatoes aren't yams. You see how that fits in with us? All black people are black people, but all black people aren't. All angels, how can I put that? And I should stop for a second. Let's cut for a minute.